Hello, everybody. Just waiting for Samantha to join. I sent her the invitation, and she should be joining us any minute. It's a gorgeous day. Hope everybody's going to be able to get out there and enjoy it as the summer is still here. We don't want it to go away, but we want to all be able to enjoy it. Okay, says she's unable to join, so let's try again. Right. Okay, try it again. Hopefully she'll be able to join us. Okay. I resent the invitation to Samantha. Let's hope it works this time. Okay. Don't know why this is not working. Okay, this should work, I hope.
There you go.
There. Okay.
Sorry, I
Sorry.
have to hold it in my hand. I can't find this our stick or the stand. I don't know where it is, so I might be moving around. My arm might get tired.
Okay. All right. So,
Hi everyone, it's been a while, but we are back on here, and our topic today is we'll just sort of go over the differences, I guess the positives, and I don't want to use the word negative, but the sort of differences in when you're buying a new condo and when you're buying a resale condo, and what those advantages might be for you and your unique situation. How about that?
I think that let's delve into it. And we all know what resales are about. What you see is what you get. When you are going into, you'll be able to move in approximately, give or take, when you want to move in. You
So time.
know that you are getting window coverings, you're getting appliances, you know whether the appliances are new or they're old, what needs to be replaced, what doesn't need to be replaced. You know what the amenities in the building are or are not, what they do or do not have to offer. You know exactly where your parking spot is going to be. You know the size of your locker if you do get a locker. These are all things that are not exactly known when you go to buy a new condo. You know you may pay extra for that parking spot. You may pay extra for the locker. You
Maintenance might be a little higher. Taxes
because
might be a little higher than they
well,
projected.
what it is that we know now, unless you go into a new condo and it's already up,
Mm-hmm.
and you can walk through and physically see it, then you'll see the space that's there. When you are buying from a floor plan, there are many times there's an adjustment. We have seen where people believe they can put a queen or king size bed and then all of a sudden it doesn't fit, or otherwise a wall was supposed to be somewhere and for some reason the developer had their reasons as to why it could no longer be there, or room sizes are
Or windows.
window.
Windows, like they thought they were going to be there, so then that affects your light, and you might have thought you were going to have a window on a certain side, and you didn't have that. So basically the big point here for buying from blueprints is that there's a lot of unknowns. We hope that everything works out and is true to what the developer has offered, and has promised, basically, and is in your contract even. But it doesn't always come to be. And it also, for some people, they can't envision um, the space and putting their furniture in and all of that. So sometimes that can be challenging for some people as well. They just automatically think they're getting the showroom or sort of look, and it might not be exactly that. The other thing Cheryl touched upon was timing. So that's also something to keep in mind. It's not always when they say when you close on a resale, you close on the resale. So maybe it's a day or two here and there. Some things happen with the lawyers and everything in the closing, but you're talking about a day or two, maybe delay, not months delay. So
I think
that,
what you also have to take into consideration that if you're in a rental, then it's fine. You can wait. You're
mm-hmm,
not dependent on a market. Right now, we don't know. Is the market going up? Is it going down? Is it going sideways? It could go any which way. So if you're concerned that you need X amount of money out of your property,
mm-hmm.
it really can change. It could be for the positive. It hopefully won't be positive. It'll, maintain itself where it is today. But if you're going into a brand new building where they have to wait till they have a certain percentage before they can put the shovel in the ground, this could be a 3 to 5 year wait. And hopefully in 3 to 5 years, things definitely will be as good as they are today, even though people are thinking the prices are going down, but they're still at a very high level. And if you're banking on today's prices, hopefully they will be the same in 3 to 5 years from now. So,
or
yeah,
a bit, well, they
or
would
higher.
be a little bit higher. And the thing to keep in mind is everybody knows we're seeing the repercussions now, um, of the COVID with the and also issue with gas and everything. So all the supplies in order to build these properties and renovate are obviously increased, and those get passed on to the buyer. And we don't know what that may or may not look like in 3 to 5 years, as Cheryl mentioned, when the property's actually ready. The prices could be up, or they, like, of those materials and services and stuff, or they could go down. But most likely they're going to stay the same, because once it's sort of like once somebody gets used to paying something, that's the price. It doesn't usually go down. So, because they can get it.
I think what you have to also consider is that real estate, if you're in a home and you're looking to go into a condo, then you know that your home is tax-free money, so to speak, where if you were to sell your home and decide to rent, whatever you earn, if you say, well, I'm going to invest my money and get X amount because I think the market is good now and I want to take my money, whatever you earn, you have to pay tax on. Where if you stay in your home and wait till the building is finished and ready to move into, hopefully your home will increase and you're not going to pay the, any tax on the increase of the value of your home.
Okay, but let's also talk about it. That's if it's your principal
Yeah,
residence. So
right,
let's talk about, because a lot of people do buy new condos for investment purposes, and some people compare and say, hey, wait, should I buy a new condo or should I buy a resale and renovate it? So that's a whole other way of looking at it, and the tax issues are obviously different in that case, but in both cases, because it is an investment, whether it's resale or new, you're also going to be taxed. But one more point, actually, sorry, I just want to go back to another thing for new versus resale, whether it's for investment. I'll make it a point as an investment or primary. The other thing is that you put down money in blocks as opposed to having to come up with all of the money
right.
and maybe having to sell your home in order to purchase whatever condo you're going into, if it's a downside situation or an upside, whatever it is. So that's just one other thing just to make a comment about, is the allocation of the money is a little bit different, and more spread out. So it could be easier for some people. But, and similarly in an investment, that would be the same situation. If you're looking at a new, you're going to be putting less down over time. Whereas if you're buying a resale, you have to come up with the money on closing, which is a more definitive date and time. So you might want to keep
If
that
it's
in
an
mind.
if it's an investment.
Yeah, and then we know,
Right.
obviously, a lot of people are very aware, but it's important to do the math on this. Like I said, the costs of materials and different things are up. So if you're buying a resale and you have in mind that you want to renovate it, which will add value, first of all, be sure you contact your preferred realtor, because make sure that you are putting money in the right places and you're not picking things that aren't, especially for investment purposes, you want to keep it very neutral. So if you want, ask Cheryl and I, we have our go-to paints, for example, and place and tiles and carpet and all sorts of things that, just neutralize, but will always remain classic and classy. um, Cheryl, do you want to make any other points on the resale as an investment purpose as opposed to primary residence? Any other
Well,
different?
right now we're all hearing and we're seeing, and we, can testify to it that the rents are really very well received. There
Strong.
are many people who are getting multiple offers on leases
Yeah.
because people don't have the money to put down to purchase, but they have the income to support the amount for leasing for month to month. And they feel that it gives them an opportunity to build up the deposit so it will be larger. So in a year or two, they'll have a larger deposit and be able to buy something.
I think another reason why the rents are also up is that we have been sort of in a standstill, and now those people who may have done business, and okay, the standstill, but also there's the point that people who might have done long distance business. Why am I like not thinking the right term here? But um, they can work from home and travel more. So there might be people leasing a place for a company, like as a mutual ground for multiple people to stay in, but they're doing a 1 year lease under a corporation or something. But on top of it, people weren't moving as much. And now we know what's going on with COVID, we know what's going on in the world. So now those people who might have transferred for business purposes are going to start doing so. So I think that's also been like they kind of were sitting on the fence and now they're making their moves basically. Plus, as we also are very well aware that our immigration numbers are going to be quite high because that was also on a standstill. So that's going to come in. So those are different types of rental potential tenants, obviously, different like price points and needs. You know, the person who's traveling for business and just needs a little pied a terre could be in a 400 to 500 square foot suite, whereas there's also like 2-3 bedroom large condos, people who have sold their house and decided,
They want to wait and
yeah.
see what happens.
And also we know, I mean, it's no secret. My husband and I, Steve, do a podcast every Friday, and Cheryl and I work with a lot of Steve's clients. And when you're going through a divorce or separation, you don't necessarily want to buy because you don't know what your settlement is yet. So somebody moves out, they're going to rent, and they're going to rent for a year because they're going to see how does this work if there's kids involved, if there's not kids involved. They might want to be as far away as possible if there's no kids involved and they don't have to go back and forth. So they may try out a different area just for a different experience. And then they might not like it, so they go for a year or something. But, and some people just enjoy letting other people, they've got a lot going on with their separation, divorce, or their children, and they don't want to worry about all the details, maintenance of a home. So it's easier to rent. Yeah. Yeah. So, or people are at a different life stage and they're just traveling a lot. And, it's easier to rent. You just turn the key and you're gone. So,
some people rent forever.
yeah.
They just, you know what? They just don't own a piece of real estate. Us being in real estate, we say, accumulate as much as you can because eventually it's all going to be up in value from
Yeah.
where you purchase it from. As long as if you're thinking of making a move and you're going to be somewhere between 7 to 10 years, if you can project that far in advance, it's best to just buy something.
Absolutely.
Because then your value is going to go up. If you're looking short term, you don't know what's going to be in a year or two, then you may consider, renting. That may suit your purposes. Again, there's a lot of details that you have to look at personally to see whether renting or buying makes sense for
Okay,
you.
but let's circle back to our original topic because we sort of went a little off with that because we brought in the fact that, which makes sense, is that we were looking at the resale condo versus a new condo as an investment. And we went on a little bit off by just talking about the rental market because it is so strong. But that being said, also as an investor, when you buy an older property, like, do you want to renovate it? Do you want to take the time to do that? So that's something you might want to consider. And the location of that building, if it is something that requires renovation, if you're purchasing something in the Junction and you live in Richmond Hill, you might not, and you have to be there for the renovation all the time and manage it. It's not the easiest like to get there, right? Commute, yes, thank you. So you might want to keep that in mind, and you just might simply not want to renovate something. So there's that also. So buying new for you as an investment might be easier, and then also the maintenance. If something is older and you don't even renovate it, that you'll be able to get someone in there at a price that works for you. And you don't have to do anything to the property, but the property's older. You have to keep in mind that with an older building, you'll check like the reserve fund and everything, but you don't know what other costs might come into play on that building, and keep that in mind with an older building.
Well, any building, usually, yeah, you can get an assessment, or otherwise they definitely up your monthly maintenance. The monthly maintenance constantly goes up. It could be marginal, it could be a big leap, depending, as Samantha said, how old the building is and what needs to be done to it and how strong the reserve
Fund.
is. So you want to be sure that you definitely look into this and speak with the property manager to find out what is in store for the next 3 to 5 years, what the board people have to say, what they want to do. And as you go into the older buildings, we're noticing that buildings that are 35 to 40 years around the city, many of the garages are having to be redone because they're starting to leak and they need to be redone.
And also
And
they're adding probably those chargers in the garage, so there's going to be an increased expense, right? With older buildings, there's all the technology. Like in my building, which is only a few years old, I mean, we have a whole locker system that's digitized. I mean, our doors are digitized. So
you have
there are
charge.
things. Pardon?
Do you have electric chargers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For cars, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have like refrigeration with locker codes, like for things. So these are all like, I mean, they're amazing things to have, and it's not necessary. Don't get me wrong. Like that's not necessary in a building, but it is what people are comparing, and they're saying I could go into a new building that offers all of this, and that's attractive to different ages, but of course the younger generation who it's all gimmicks and new stuff and tech, and they're used to that kind of stuff. They don't really deal with concierge and people as much. They're very happy to go in and punch in their code and get their package.
Yeah.
So it's different in that sense also. But if anybody, we're going to wrap it up. And if anybody has any questions or wants to talk about their specific needs and situation in regards, whether it's personal for themselves or for an investment purpose, what areas we also see as up and coming for those rental markets. You want to throw a neighborhood bias, we're happy to comment on it the best that we can. And I don't know, between all our experience, I'm pretty sure we'll have an answer for you, or if not, we will definitely find it. We have the resources, that's for sure.
All right, everybody, enjoy the sunshine the rest of the day, and hope you get out there and aren't inside on your phone. Have a good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye for now.